So I have to record this now before it's no longer in my brain the same way as it is now. But I was just taking the time this morning to relax and prepare for the difficult day that I have ahead of me in the studio, glazing ceramic work, and hopefully not having to make any more glazes. Hopefully I'll just glaze what's there and be done. Probably. I don't think I'll have time or energy for anything else, but that's beside the point. The point was that I was just thinking about how for a long time in the past I just didn't have access to these kind of things. Like, I didn't have constant internet connection to where I could actually like listen to a podcast or watch a video on YouTube just whenever I wanted. I had like a finite amount of not only like time and energy, but the actual access to the internet and ability to just have those moments, I guess. And the same thing with like art. Like, the more I've been in art school, like, I think about how growing up, like, if I had just taken notebook paper and regular pencils and just gone outside and literally just continued to draw things just over and over. Sorry, my hair needs to be brushed and it's all over my shirt and it feels weird. Um, if I had just gone outside and drawn things over and over and over again and just practiced it, my skill level would have been higher than it was when I first got back into actually trying to focus on all of these things. So I actually did myself a huge disservice just sitting around being afraid to actually take the time and the resources to do something. And I think that the root cause of that actually pops up in a lot of different areas in my life is just that I hoard resources like time and energy and money when I can, when I've been able to, and like art supplies and stuff. Like, it would take forever before I would get like a new sketchbook and then like a new set of crayons or colored pencils or markers or something, because like we were very poor, so we just didn't have it, couldn't have it. And so when I did finally get those things, it was like, I have to hold on to this because this is all that I've got. And if I just use it, or if I just don't put the right amount of thought and preparation or effort into how I'm actually going to use this, then it's just going to be wasted. Like, the drawing I'm trying to do is just going to be messed up, and then, like, if I do that too many times, then I just won't have the paper, I just won't have the supplies, I won't have the time or whatever. And I think it's also part of what I'm trying to protect through all of that has been my emotions and like my emotional regulation inside also, because I am very sensitive to rejection. I've noticed that, and especially even things that are like very slight. Like, even when I started trying to learn the ukulele, it took me forever to actually learn even one full song, because it would get to the point where like I would pick it up and be really interested in, wanting to try and figure it out, and then over whatever little bit of time that I did manage to put aside to try and do something, I wouldn't be as good at it or as proficient as I felt like I should be, and it would get really frustrating, and I would feel kind of that sense of, I guess, disappointment in myself for not just being able to do better, because I'm kind of a perfectionist, and like I was a gifted kid, like, all growing up. It was like I caught on to things pretty easily, especially if it was like knowledge that I needed to acquire or some kind of skill that I needed to emulate and, reproduce. So, the same thing happened when I first started ceramics too. Like, I started trying to throw on the wheel, and it was just so hard to get a 6-inch cylinder. Like, that was almost impossible, and I really felt very discouraged for a long time. And if it hadn't been for the fact that I was able to just keep convincing myself, like, this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, this is something that really excites me. And like, even with just the hand building, it's been great. Like, it had been great up until that point. So I was just very determined to do it. The same thing with the ukulele. I was just like, in spite of all of these negative emotions that keep building up through this failure, I am not just going to say, oh, well, I don't want to feel these emotions anymore, so I'm going to stop doing this thing. I just, persevered and pushed through it and kept failing over and over again and getting it wrong and doing bad and throwing pots that didn't make it. And I've got pots that I've put glazes on that are fully functional forms that I'm probably just going to shatter at some point because they weren't what I wanted. They were kind of mistakes, they're failures. But am I gonna stop making ceramics past this point because a few bowls didn't make it? Am I gonna like stop practicing ukulele and making covers, imperfect covers, albeit, but covers nonetheless, to put on YouTube because, this one song that I was really wanting to learn has really difficult chords and I can't play it right now? No, I've had plenty of time within the past, like, I don't know, it hasn't been long that I've been posting these covers on YouTube, but I've definitely been making better progress within the past, like, 3 or 4 months with the ukulele, and a lot of that was just because I kept coming back to it every day. Like, I would do whatever I could and push my own boundaries and limits as much as I could in that moment and not really beat myself up about the things that I couldn't do yet. So basically, some of the songs that at the beginning of me actually being able to play through and sing songs, that I would look them up and be like, oh, this chord's really difficult, or this chord change is impossible, or I just don't know about the strumming pattern. Like, now I've been doing it long enough that some of those songs I'll look back up and be like, why haven't I done a cover of this one? Why haven't I played this one yet? And I'll realize, oh, that was just before I had mastered the E minor chord, or before I had, before I was able to just like look at the chords on the screen and remember them, the ones that are kind of weird, or the ones that are like, what is it, in A sharp is a B flat, so like some of the tabs would have like an A sharp written on there instead of B flat, and before I was more familiar with it, it would get confused in my brain and it was too difficult to actually go through with playing the song. But now, I can remember that easier from just having done it this whole time. But so the point to all of this was, I was just saying this morning how I wish that I could go back to myself at whatever youngest age I would have remembered and it would have had the best impact, and just said, hey, just do the things. Just do it. Don't be afraid that you're gonna waste your time because, or the paper or the resources because, the drawing's not going to be perfect, so therefore you should have spent that hour doing something else, because not only did you waste resources but also your time. And it's like, I spent so much time, or wasted so much time, staring at walls when I was growing up, just because I didn't have a whole lot more to do. Like, there weren't many options for me, but within the context that I existed in, there were enough things I could have been doing if I had been able to just create within myself, I don't know, a larger, greater desire to do so. If I had just been more determined, or if I had just, looked at things from a slightly different perspective, basically. But, like, that was then, and I didn't know all of the things that I do now. So a big part of it is not only recognizing that this has been a problem, and that, I have lived my life reacting to situations and behaving in situations, based off of these ideas or beliefs that have been, whether overtly or subconsciously, going on in the background of my brain. So the first step is like recognizing that that has been an issue, that that's part of, what was going on, but also just forgiving my younger self for not being constantly productive and not making better use of all of the time that I had. Yeah. So I think that's basically what I had to say about that. I could probably ramble on forever and ever and ever, going off on little tangential connections to these different moments within the overarching topic, but I'm gonna save that for later because I do need to be in the studio as much as possible today, and I'm not even sure if or when I'm gonna post this. I might post it like after the semester's already even over, because I want to start doing, in addition to the ukulele covers, at least the two other segments. I want to do one about the plants. I don't know if I'll have already posted that video by the time that I post this one. But I definitely am going to be documenting more of the plant journey because that's going to tie in with my ceramics anyway. So maybe that'll be a good introduction to, starting to post more videos and content about that side of my work, the ceramics and the art stuff. Because mainly I just have like photos here and there and like little clips. Most of the time I'm too busy actually making the stuff or working on things to worry about having to set up all kinds of other things. In addition to the fact that like I basically just have my phone. I mean, I do have a DSLR and a laptop, but my laptop doesn't have a good quality camera, and the DSLR not only takes way longer to set up and do all of that, but then I also have to like edit the stuff and yeah. So that's a whole headache that I'm really, I don't know, I'm very particular about certain things, and if I had easy access to software that I could, you know, not have to deal with the added stress of, basically there's a different computer besides my laptop that I could use software on that computer to edit stuff, but I can't actually do that without having to deal with all kinds of other anxiety. So I would have to like build myself up to the point to like go do that, so it would take twice as long than normal, and I don't even have the time to sit down and really edit things together right now anyway, let alone take twice as long as I normally would to do the same thing. So um the point, it was here. um if I could find it again. Oh yeah, I want to do at least the two different segments, one with the plants, and then this video will probably be part of the Ari talks. Like instead of ARI, my name, I'll do like capital R, capital E, so that it's like a memo. So yeah, basically I'll just be sitting like this, either talking about something to do with my own life or experience or my own thoughts on things, or sometimes I'll probably even do like more in-depth things. Like I am currently in school for sociology and anthropology, and I plan on taking that at least up through a master's, if not a doctorate, depending on how life goes in the next 4 to 6 years or so. But I'll probably talk about a lot of those different things and a lot of, some current events, maybe not super often unless it ties back into other things that are already on my mind. Definitely interested in a lot of social issues. So probably what'll happen is I'll end up going on rants or just having basically one-sided conversations. It'll be like a soliloquy going on here. I'll just talk and put it on the internet forever. And any resources in addition to that, or any links or whatever, I will post in any description boxes. I'll make sure, if I am talking about something that has like real world applications or any kind of statistics, I'll try my best to either indirectly reference by just talking about it, the thing, if I can't remember specifically or I don't have it specifically saved, but if I do have direct links, I will try to include those as often as possible, because I do think that it is important to at least, if not like stay grounded in reality, to keep a good enough idea in your brain about, what is real, what applies to what's actually going on out in this world that we have going on here, versus things that are just conjecture or my own subjective opinion that hasn't been, studied or verified, or, a lot of sources can be very biased. So that's also something that we're even now trying to like untangle all of the bias from the things we thought we knew, in a lot of instances. So anyway, that's why I think sources are important, so I will definitely make that a priority. But yeah, so this probably has been not a great quality video. I definitely talk too much, but hey, if you like listening to my voice or the things that I have to say, there definitely are plenty of little nuggets of wisdom in there, and like awesome moments, and probably hilarious moments too. I don't know. I think I'm funny. But I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully I'll start doing this decently regularly. Like at this point in time, I can't really commit to any kind of schedule, but I will let you know if that changes. So I almost forgot what the end point was gonna be to the video, but I remembered it after I was already like partway through a queue of new videos, so I had to kind of just watch through them because I couldn't remember all the different videos and I didn't want to have to make a playlist to delete later. But anyway, that's too much information. The whole point, which I wrote on my hand so that I wouldn't forget, is that basically, even though it may seem outwardly like, I should be doing these other things because deadlines or whatever, or like the thing about my childhood, like I should have been doing more stuff with my time, you just gotta kind of forgive yourself. Like, I gotta forgive myself for feeling the need to take this time to not be super productive right before the end of the deadline, and relax and recharge and do what I needed to do to face the rest of today and probably be more productive now, way later than I had planned to go in, than I would have been if I had just gone in early and been there all day. I probably wouldn't have gotten as much done. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, that was it. That was the point. I remembered. So there you go.